Howdy, y'all. Thought I'd try something a little bit different today. So I'm in my car because it's extremely cold outside. Anyhow, I'm seeing a lot of stuff, culturally start to clash with faith. And I think one of the biggest things that I've noticed and seen and personally dealt with my entire life is the desire to want to be a part of the larger social sphere and have something relevant to say and, basically just find a way to, have a little place in the world without feeling completely left out. But I mean, that's an unfortunate side of holiness and choosing to be with the Lord. The topic I wanted to directly discuss today is feminism in Christianity, and specifically how it relates to believers, what we're supposed to do about it, what it really is, and what it really isn't. So, the Book of Daniel talks about the Antichrist not honoring any previous God, the God of his fathers or anyone else, and then, curiously, I believe it's Daniel 11, I'll have to double check, he goes out of his way to mention that, he won't follow the desire of women. Well, I've noted this in other videos before, but the truth of the matter is there's been no other time, place in history where one could look and see what exactly was Daniel talking about, the Spirit through Daniel, of course. The truth of the matter is the Lord, he forever knew what was going to happen, and he knew that one day, Satan would make the world so simple and easy with all this technology that he would, I don't know how else to say it, but use the women as sleeper agents and put them against us and convince them to, instead of basically maintain their sphere given to them by God. And it's an absolute gift because they're the only ones capable of doing it. We can talk about trans men all you want, but they will never have uteruses, they will never have children, sorry, and there will never be an actual replacement for a real God-made woman. So I think it's very clear at this point in history that the desire of women is to have some feigned level of equality in the competition for goods and resources. And a lot of it, well, it's nasty on its face because in the end, the men and women both demand so much of the specter of feminism as far as what it's supposed to do to men and women's roles that they end up a little bit crazy. In other words, they demand so much that is literally impossible by God's design that they have to do like Pharaoh. They have to step off the edge of sanity farther and farther into the recesses until they seem to lose their mind. But that brings into question the meaning of life, which is another video we're going to talk about here pretty quick, because the meaning of life is both very simple and extremely manifold. Simple if you trust the Lord, unlimited in options if you don't, because Satan he loves to come up with new ideas for you that are absolute nonsense and lead into a pit. Women are not the same as men, and that's where the whole equality lie gets basically put on the forefront. We're both made specifically for our spheres, and I think the biggest thing that feminism has against Christianity in specific is the patriarchal design. But I challenge any of them to an arm wrestling match. I challenge any of them, to come do the job your typical man does. Your plumber, electrician, carpenter, etc. Over 98% of them are men. Mechanics. Yeah, you'll find a female mechanic in a city, but they're less than 3%, and statistically they don't stick with the job because they don't have the physical capabilities of doing it. And that's no knock on them, just the same way men don't have the same physical capabilities as women in the house. I don't know why we have to have this conversation at this point, but I guess I can opine a little bit on what the Bible actually says about things. Yes, it does prescribe men and women both to stick to their roles. It basically says that men are supposed to go out every day, do battle, and bring home all the resources, and the woman is supposed to take care of all the soft, kind, gentle things of life, the home, the children, the animals, and so on. Obviously, it's not possible for a woman to do literally everything, just the same way it's not possible for a man to do literally everything a man is prescribed to do. There's always sharing of duties. When it comes down to it, though, Christians are commanded to treat their women with a higher respect than the unbelieving world does. Even when a woman gets exactly what she wants, she is spitting on the most gracious gifts that would come from a holy, ordained relationship from the Lord. If a woman decides that she can be both Christian and feminist, she's going to be very unhappy. The truth of the matter is feminism teaches women to go compete with men and literally fight with them. I mean, yes, it's always a battle. They always want to point out, all the ways in which life is not like it used to be, but our infrastructure is much weaker than it appears. It is, I'm sure, temporarily held up, probably by demons, to make sure that these, it's not just women, by the way. I don't think that women are the only ones. I think there's plenty of men that have absolutely fostered their nonsense and continued it and made them very, very comfortable being very, very crazy. And you see it too. These women get to 30, 35, they start hating all the men, and they start saying they want a nice guy now because they're done being used and abused by men that have nothing to do with them really long term, because they know that they just want to compete with them instead of actually be their woman. So as a Christian, we have zero business indulging ourselves in this. Ladies, you rob yourself if you think that any type of worldly version of equality is ever going to make you feel fulfilled. Men and women both thrive when they're in their sphere. Paul literally says, and this is so incredibly, it's butchered and maligned and so on, but Paul says that women in faith, through childbirth and basically running the home, will find the best version of themselves in faith. Not saying that you have to have kids to be the best version of yourself, but the submissive, feminine, holding up the structure that the man pays for, maintains, battles the world for. That's what it is. It's battle. It's absolute war. It's war. So it honestly, it's a conglomeration of faults. Men didn't do it. Women didn't do it. They did it together. They did it when they abandoned the Lord. That's what it always starts with. You start with that initial rebellion, and the crazy can go on in many different directions in many different ways. Again, I'll say it. Andrew Tate points out the natural consequence of men and women behaving amongst one another in unbelief. I'm going to always say that because I'm not a fan. I'm not somebody who supports him, but his takedown of feminism is exactly what it is. It is the desire of women to compete with men for resources on a worldly scale while still being somehow able to maintain their feminine perspective, point of view, and position, which is not possible. It's just not. So, the sooner a Christian abandons that silliness, gets on to the higher things of the Lord, the better. There's no distinction between the potential rewards a woman or a man could get in this life by following faithfully and doing the hard thing of staying with the Lord regardless of what happens in our face. Women are guaranteed just as high results as men. That being said, there are men always put at the forefront, and they will be the ones that are the highest rewarded, but that does not mean there won't be women there. That also doesn't mean that, well, the Lord goes out of his way to point out, the heroic women of the past. They were great examples of the women of the future. And I mean, even Sarah, I hate to tell you folks, and I'm not saying that I say this is a good thing to do, but, this was wrong of her, absolutely out of line. But as the woman looking out for her husband trying to have a child, I mean, when she pointed out Hagar, she was doing the thing that she thought would give her man the best chance at getting what the Lord had for him. She was wrong, she sinned, she erred, but she was willing to share her man like that, specifically to make sure her Lord got the business handled, a child. So, I mean, I don't advise that. I think it's silliness. I think she was supposed to wait and be faithful the way the Lord prescribed, but even in her error, she was trying to look out for her man. Does that make it perfect? Absolutely not. Do I advise this? Do I prescribe this? Way, way, way against it. Don't even think about it. Bad idea. Sharing women is stupid. The Lord is very clear. We are meant to have one wife. We are not meant to get rid of her. We are meant to take care of her and cherish her. But she is meant to honor and respect and follow us. So it's two parts. They have to follow, and we have to be worthy of being followed. So men, you need to man up. Get up every day. Take care of yourself. Eat right. Exercise. Open your Bibles. Trudge on and pray for these people. Treat them kindly, but at a certain point, you kind of just have to throw your hands in the air and walk away. This place is surrounded by it. Feminism. I'm pretty harsh online, to be honest. It doesn't come across as all that godly. But the truth of the matter is at some point Christians need to stand up and lovingly just give them the bird, the cross. That's essentially what it is. We don't flip them off. We just bless you, walk away, and don't have anything to do with them. Submission is key. We submit to the Lord. Our women are supposed to submit to us. That means we are supposed to be honorable, and they are supposed to honor. And it's supposed to be a train of hands being held into eternity. And that's the way we should look at it. Feminism is an evil attack on the family structure. And we need to be consistent. We need to not involve ourselves in this nonsense. We need to not be a part of it. We need to stand strong. And lovingly, there are plenty of ladies out there that have a feminist mindset that keep demanding that the world give them the equal respect that they think they deserve as a single person and so on, which, yeah, you're grasping. You're really grasping. Anyhow, that's it for today. Feminism, I hate saying the word, but I don't know what else to call it, is cancer. It is specifically designed, along with all the ease of technology, indoor plumbing, electricity, all of these things were handed to us to make us weak, and it did a great job. And now we have this silly social religion that we have to contend with. It's almost dead, but its death also, unfortunately, ushers in, well, you know who. We'll talk about it later. Have a good day, guys.